Okay, so before I begin, let me just check to see if I am live. I decided to do this live for New Comic Book Day, and this one in particular is super special to me. Super hyped for this one because the mutants are here, right? Let me just. Ooh, okay, I'm sounding great. Just wanted to make sure. For those of you who are about to are gonna watch the playback, let me hit that intro going.
Anything. We shall see.
All right, team, I am back. All right, so you're probably wondering, New Comic Book Day, what are the comic books for New Comic Book Day? So we're going to get started. I picked up my books. I actually ordered some of these books already, but I could not wait until they came because I left work early. Not early, but just like right on time for the summer flows. And then I went to go get my pickups. So this is an impromptu stream. Didn't really decide to plan this out, but yeah. So I went to my other LCS, not my original LCS, but you're probably wondering, Zen, what did you get? So we I have nothing but X books, and that's all I have, right? There's a lot of X books that came out, so here's the Legion of X books. So we have New Mutants, number 19. New Mutants has been a pretty good flow. What's going on, UziTube? It's been a pretty good flow. Especially when it comes to the Shadow King, that kind of lead up into like what he's doing, what that's all about. So we got that. Oh, you like the headphones? Thank you, thank you, thank you. We have Hellions, which is one of my favorite X books out so far. This is Hellions number 13. We have Mr. Sinister standing above another Mr. Sinister. And it seems like when you go a little bit closer, you can see that this Mr. Sinister has some stitches. I think this is the clone. Or maybe that was the original. We don't know. We'll find out in this book, right? Next one is X-Force. It's pretty cool. We got the just have a nice cover. That's about it. It's pretty exciting. All right, next one on the list we have Marauders. All right, and we have Marauders number 21. Okay, and can see Emma Frost in her Hellfire Gala clothing, looking amazing, looking great. Next book is Excalibur. Okay, Excalibur number 21. Okay, I haven't been reading that much of Excalibur, so there's a couple books that I have to like go back and read. You know what I mean? The next one on the list is wayofx. This one is I'm enjoying this like a lot, a lot, a lot. wayofx and Hellions, I'm definitely enjoying. The next book on the list is um, I got I backtracked because like I was saying, there's some books that I haven't read that much of, and that happens to be um, New Mutants. So this is New Mutants number 17, and this is New Mutants number 18. So I have to just like backtrack and kind of read because I want to catch up into what's happening in with the X books, right? I feel like I'm missing a book. All right, next book on the list is Children of the Atom. Okay, this story is kind of coming to a conclusion. I think I think it's wrapping up. It's about some kids, right? Seem like vigilantes that happen to have abilities that mimic some of the mainstay old school X-Men members. So like Gambit, Nightcrawler, Archangel, and a couple other characters. So eager to see how this concludes. It's not one of my favorite books, but it's one that I started that I want to definitely see how it ends, right? The next book on the list is X-Men Legends number 4. I love X-Men Legends, and here's the reason why I love X-Men Legends. X-Men Legends would, if you just look at it, it just seems like, oh, this is just like revamping. It's just like old stories, right? X-Men Legends fill in the gaps where stories didn't fill in some of the storylines. So what it actually does is it does that, right? My favorite was really X-Men number 1. X-Men Legends number 1. That was my favorite one because it had to do with Havok, Cyclops, and their long lost brother, right? And I'm not talking about Vulcan, right? So go out and read that. The book. The last book, and which was my main pickup, which I ordered like three of these covers for, but I had to like go out and get it, happens to be, and this book is kind of thick. I didn't. Oh man, and it goes to Xmen #1. So this is a reboot, not so much a reboot, but this is the new team, which consists of a couple of characters that I'm really excited for. I don't even want to go through the pages because I'm just like, yeah. And the characters include um, Miss Marvel. We have Cyclops. We have the new Wolverine, which previously was known as X-23, right? And this is a wraparound cover. So if we wrap around, we have Rogue, we have Sync, and we have Polaris. Oh, we're missing a character. Where is he? There's another character, Sunfire. Where's Sunfire? Oh, Sunfire's blazing it up right here, right? So these are some really cool characters. I am so excited to read this book. Let me just check the chat. Oh, it's Marvel Girl. Yeah, you're so right, guy with the camera. What did I say? I said Miss Marvel, right? Steven, what's going on? Oh, it must be nice because I'm on vacation. No, I'm not on vacation. I had to work today. I had to work today. This week I've been working half days for uh, I just been working half days. I'm not gonna say everything, but yeah. So let me go over the books. My main pickup for this week has to be X-Men #1, this rebooted team. So let's go through the list of books that I got, and I'm going to give you my top three books that I'm excited to really read. And you guys, if you have any questions about any of these books, I can only tell you as much as I know, right? For some of these, I've been reading the runs, but they're nothing but X titles. All of these are just like mutant based titles. So we have X-Men Legends #4, and X-Men Legends basically just fills in the gaps for old stories that never were truly concluded, or there were mysteries that were unsolved, and I'm digging it. The next one is Children of the Atom. This is probably one of my least favorite books, but it's still one that I want to get to. I want to know what the Children of the Atom, um, how it concludes, why they got their powers. But there's also some characters in this book that we just haven't seen in a long time, such as like Maggot. He's here, so it's pretty cool, right? Uh, Guy, the camera said I dropped a lot of the X titles and I just listened to YouTubers covering them. I hear you. I hear you on that. Well, let me tell you, almost all these books are going to be covered on the channel because you'll notice that I didn't pick up any other comic books. There were other books that I wanted, but I was like, ah man, it's either I pick up all the X books or I just mix and match, right? So I went with all these X books. I backtracked because I haven't been reading New Mutants, but I have New Mutants #17, and then I have New Mutants #18 because I wanted to get #19. So we have that. Um, Another one of my favorite titles is Way of X. So this is kind of a Nightcrawler led book. But it's more than meets the eye, right? Transformers kind of quote. But then we have Excalibur, #21. Excalibur is another one of my least favorite books, but it does include characters that I want to see how their story kind of unfolds, right? Such as Captain Britain, the new Captain Britain, of course. Then we have Marauders #21, another one of the books that Marauders, yeah. Only because of the Hellfire Gala, which is now concluded, is why I wanted to read it. X Force is one of my favorite titles, but not one that's on my hierarchy of like books, right? Um, they just have characters that I'm kind of like, oh, I like those characters. Hellions now, one of my favorite books of the X books, right? There's one that I'm missing, but I'm not too sure if they just didn't have it at my second LCS or and that happens to be Sword. Sword is one of my favorite ones, and the last one is 19 because I wanted to catch up on it. That's why I bought the 18 and 17, right? Um, Guy with the camera said, I've been wondering how much longer is Marvel gonna have the Inhuman at the corner until they come back Philly? I don't know. I don't even think. You mean in the comic books? Like, they're how long are they gonna keep the Inhumans kind of like they're not here anymore? Like the Inhumans are kind of like extinct until they come back? Huh. If that's what is that what you mean before I say what I'm about to say? And then you said, I mean, X-Men is basically taking control of space. Isn't that the human in human land until They got limited. Yeah, so I would say that the mutants are kind of expanding way farther than where the Inhumans basically only took a sector of the moon, right? But with the X or with the mutants, um, and they just basically terraformed the whole entire all of Mars, right, in one book. And it's amazing to see, but also I think the amount of mutants that there are now, basically there was the whole extinction event, right? But then we have this whole another island of Araco that now resides on Mars, and they have like a ton of mutants that we have not seen. I'm actually gonna do it's a little bit hard because they haven't done too much on each of these characters, but they've given us enough for like certain characters for us to know what are their powers, right? So I want to do a powers discuss on those characters from the Rocco based mutants, right? Which is like, oh man, they're so amazing. I'm actually gonna bring up a picture because there's one character that I want to do a powers, two characters that I want to do a powers discuss on. But the whole thing about the mutants are truly expanded to the outskirts of what I would say. Basically they're taking over planets, and their ability to terraform. They utilize Omega level mutants on both the Araco and Krakoa based mutants, right? Or we would say our mutants from Earth, and they terraformed the planet in I forgot the time span, but I think it was like less than an hour, right? Storm used her climate control. Iceman was there. One of the mutants from Morocco basically did something else, and they literally terraformed the whole entire planet, which is just like crazy, right? Um, and they also told every other alien beings that they gotta offer a metal type to call. Yeah, they did. If we might get a sequel to X-Men versus the Inhumans in the future, I don't even think that we're gonna get the Inhumans anymore. I think we might get a couple of Inhumans, but I feel like they kind of like remember a lot of the Inhumans like died, right? In their whole like event, right? One of the things that I don't remember, and correct me if I'm wrong. Anyone correct me. I know Black Bolt, his powers got compromised, right? Where his like throat or something was messed up, and all he could do was like whisper or something of the nature. But many of the Inhumans actually died um, in the previous events. I forgot what title line that was. I didn't read the whole entire run, but I know that like a lot of them were like eradicated, right? And and I think they did that in a way after X-Men versus Inhumans to just say like the X-Men are coming back, they hold their place. One of the things that I, I'm trying to grasp why the Inhumans never really caught on so much, and I think it happens to be um, there's I think you know what it is. I think many of their characters haven't been fleshed out. Their stories haven't been fleshed out, right? As much as like X-Men characters. I think when we think about specific characters, we know a lot about them, and they're constantly evolving, right? When I know about what I know about Black Bolt, I know he's like, I think. You know what I wish they would have done in for Black Bolt? I wish he would have had his own comic books, number one. And I wish they would have like detailed more of him trying to communicate with others using sign language. I think that would have been a phenomenal inclusion in his books that he utilizes his powers, but he forms communication. He is, he doesn't talk that much, but he does communicate. And I think that would have been cool to have like forms of sign language included in the book and then translations, right? I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I just think that they weren't really fleshed out as much as they should have, right? Like only Miss Marvel is known inhuman now, right? And like I did ever find out what happened to her kind. Yeah, yeah, because she is she got her powers from the Terrigen Mist, right? Or was it the Terrigen Mist or the Terrigen Bomb? I think it was the Terrigen Mist, right? Um, but there isn't that any Inhumans left. It's like dag, like that just kind of like X-Men versus Inhumans wasn't really bad to me. It just seemed a little bit of like a random war, right? It kind of deviated from what what the X-Men were trying to do, and then the Inhumans like I don't, I'm not really too sure what they're ever trying to do, right? I kind of feel that way about the Eternals, right? The Eternals are kind of like the Inhumans to me. It's like, what are you guys actually doing? Um, like their stories are not intriguing to me at all, and I don't know why. But that just could be a me thing, right? Um, there are characters on the Inhuman teams, on the Inhumans that I do really like, right? Um, oh, did she ever find out what happened? Find out the death of the human? I know Star Lord and his group. No, but no one else. No, I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure. But I do think there's going to be a form of resurrection that happens from the for the humans, but it's going to be a small subset. I think they're going to eliminate all of the characters that probably didn't really get any love, right? And then bring some of like a couple of them back, right? We all know that one of the fan favorites is Lockjaw, right? Lockjaw. One of the things that I'm hoping for is that I forgot which book or which line they gave, and they said that Lockjaw and Beta Ray Bill used to go on all these adventures. Like during um during Lockjaw's stay with the Inhumans, sometimes he would leave, and during those times he would leave and he would go with with Beta Ray Bill to do these things. I think that's so cool, and I wish they would like I just want a couple books with just Beta Ray Bill, and he has a phenomenal run that's about to come to its conclusion. Um, Beta Ray Bill and Lockjaw. What? I would so read that, and that's it, right? Yeah, it would be pretty cool. So yeah, those are the books that I got. My top books that I'm super eager to read, is gonna go to Hellions, Way of X, and then lastly we have X-Men. Those are the books that I'm super hyped to read. Nothing more. The other books, I just want to see if they kind of tie in a couple of things. But I looked at the artwork for X-Men. This book, by Dugan, Larraz, and Garcia. I looked at some of the artwork and it looks phenomenal, right? It looks amazing. I don't even know what it's about, but the artwork, oh man, it looks really good. So it looks like it's a couple of pages, like not a couple of pages, like it's a little bit lengthier than the regular. Um, I'm not too sure. Okay, I just opened up a random page and I saw this. Has Arako caused you distress? And then it says space lawyer, contact blurred. What is that? I don't know if that's just like a. It says, "Have you ever lived on Sol's fourth world? Were you ever born on Mars? Mars lived on Mars, marooned on Mars. You've been entitled to compensation." I think that's just a fun way of them adding in advertisements for what we already know. I think that's pretty cool. Oh, awesome, awesome, awesome. Um, you know what? What if some alien group who does it only because they want to, and F you to the mutants. Wait, what do you mean? What do you mean by that? Like they're just coming over and they're just like guys, don't do that. You're not terraforming anything. We're coming to war with you. Here's the thing with the X titles. There have been Jonathan Hickman has dropped little nuggets. The whole we already know this is still Moira's 10th timeline, right? But there's other things that have been building up. One of the ones one of the things that have been building up in the background that they just left alone is um what's the name of this group? I believe there's gonna be a war, right? The X-Men are gonna go against, I don't know. I don't even want to say the X-Men. I want to say the mutants are gonna go against someone. And they've been building up a lot of different things, such as Vulcan, his storyline, um, I think is it Brew, who is now I forgot he has like the egg that makes him in control of all of the brood, right? And he's been in alliance with the mutants. Now we have all of the Arakan based mutants, and all of those Arakan based mutants are actually they're all war bound mutants. You know what I mean? Most of them are war bound mutants. So it's like they're building up to something. And I feel like if there's going to be an intergalactic Excalibur, they have all of the people from um, Otherworld too. You know what I mean? It's just like so much going on in terms of like help from the mutants that I'm just like, whoa. And when you think about a set of Omega level mutants who are able to terraform a planet when they're using their powers um, in unison and in sync with each other, then you just have like an overload of just like they've been ready for war, and they also have this metal that they're giving away to other places, right? And they also have basically um, I don't, Forge having all the technology that he makes and things of that nature. It just leads you to believe that like it's just, yeah, it's just amazing. Oh, what if the alien brought back the Inhumans only to do that? FU is what I mean. Okay, okay. I would. I'm trying to see if they brought back the Inhumans. I feel like they would be obliterated. I don't even. I think at this, like where they were with X Men versus Inhumans, it was not an even playing field, but it was a playing field nonetheless, right? Where it is now is just ridiculous. Where the mutants are right now is just like I. It's hard to kind of conceive who's gonna go against them. I could see the Avengers and things like that, but again, like none of the Avengers are like Omega level kind of like we even have characters that are like bordering that, right? Um, if we look at this X-Men run, these are just like some really powerful characters, right? Um, Jean Grey alone is just like she's Omega level telepath, and she's shown like the brunt of her powers in terms of like her communication with a whole entire planet, right? Cyclops, he's just a tactical leader. X-23, she's just she's just wild and furious, right? But then we have Rogue. Rogue is just like a she's a force of nature on her own. But then we have characters like Sync, right? Sync by himself has no powers. He's just like a guy, right? But Sync when he's around other people can technically sync his he could sync their abilities to his own biological construct, right? Meaning that he could use their abilities. And in many cases we've seen in previous comic books when he was in Generation X, he's even used other people's powers to the extent which they never used it before, right? um we got we got a clear just kind of like description on an aesthetic level and just basically a written level of his powers when him X-23 um went into the vault, right? And basically with that whole storyline, they were in the vault for thousands of years. They came out. I mean, not they came out. X-23 ended up being stuck in the vault, and then they aged like a lot, right? And then Sync fell in love with X-23. This is complete spoilers, but he made it out of the vault after the thousands of years. But he ended up dying. And then, but all in this run, at least in the Hickman era, all of the mutants basically have their mind backed up. So when he came out the vault right before he died. He was able to contact Professor X, all of his memories and things got uploaded, and then when he was resurrected he had all those new memories, he had all of the old memories. So the 1,000 year worth of knowledge and probably adaptation responses that he's gained are now present in this version of Sync, which is pretty cool. And this is why like you could see him using powers simultaneously. He's actually using three powers at a time in this picture. I didn't notice it before, but he's using the Cyclops' optic blast. I could surmise that he's using the telekinesis here, and then I also see Green that's matching up with Polaris. Polaris is another character that's just like she is going to be the next Magneto. They haven't truly fleshed out her character, but I feel like what's going to happen with Polaris is her story is going to get so deep that because I that they're gonna realize that she may be an Omega level mutant. And I forgot her powers are not just magnetism. Her powers actually are two-folded. I don't remember the other one. And then Sunfire's is like I don't know. I'm not too sure of the depths of his abilities, but that's only one team. You know what I mean? We're not even counting Storm, who's an Omega level mutant, Iceman, who's an Omega level, and Legion and Magneto and and Elixir and all these characters. So just looking at some of these titles of the book, right? It's just like the X Men. or the mutants just have they have their teams. And I'd even talk about Sword. Sword is not even Sword is one of my favorite books. Right now it's currently my favorite book, but I don't have Sword with me, right? Wonder how we're gonna get Wanda back. I wanted to make a whole video because I don't know if you know, in the run she was basically killed. Someone killed Wanda Maximoff, right? And a lot of people are saying that it was Magneto because in the Hellfire Gala, one of the last books, he basically said, um, "Oh, how is Quicksilver gonna react?" Yeah, it's I don't know. So, oh man, I have a lot to say about that because the whole thing about that is, he said to her, he hugged her, right? Magneto hugged her because he invited her to the Hellfire Gala. Um, and he hugged her and he said, "You're still my daughter, right?" Because we know that they called her the Pretender, and she basically said no more mutants, and basically took away everyone's mutants uh, uh, powers on not just on a planetary scale, but a multi-universal scale, right? We only knew that because there were different timelines where there weren't there weren't any mutants that were being born, or their powers were just like done, right? Um, I here's the theory that I have. This one is probably not gonna happen. Just let me know what you think about this guy with the camera. That either two things happen. So I'm kind of thinking while thinking, right? A little bit of metacognition is going on. I think either it was Mystique that killed Wanda. And the reason why I'm saying that is because Mystique really wants Destiny back. Now, Destiny is a precog, and on Krakoa they said there's no precogs, right? And if you read Powers of 10 and House of X, we know that she has been very instrumental. It was almost as if Moira's rival was Destiny, right? Um, but the reason why I said that in particular is because she probably killed her. She probably Mystique probably said I she probably killed Wanda because she wants to see what will Magneto do. They probably all think he probably here's the theory. Mystique transformed into Magneto and then basically killed Wanda. And that was it, right? Now the trial of Magneto, which hasn't come up yet, is basically that they're probably going to get some tape. They're probably going to get some, I don't know, footage that it was Magneto, but we know that it's really Mystique that killed. Now, the choice that Magneto now has to make, because he said this to Wanda, is everything will be all right. Everything will be good. Like, I'll fix everything. But how will he fix everything? Here's what I think. We know that they retconned basically Quicksilver and Magneto being Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch being his kids, and they are not actually mutants. They were actually experiments from the evolutionary, right? That's how they got their powers. Ugh, I hate that so much, but whatever. They already did it. Too late. I think what might happen, right, is Magneto is gonna have to break the rules and probably say, I want Scarlet Witch resurrected again." But we also know, okay, they could technically resurrect anyone, but the thing about it is they might resurrect her with DNA that makes her a mutant again, right? They could do the same thing with Quicksilver, right? That one is a little bit far fetched, so I'm not too sure if that's going to actually happen. I just don't see Scarlet Witch being dead, without them bringing her back. And right now, the only way it seems like they could bring her back is through the resurrection protocols. But I feel like Magneto is basically going to say, resurrect her or else this, and actually tinker with her in this type of way, because we've seen mutants being resurrected, but they had their powers augmented into greater levels, right? Or just deepened variants of their power. You said with whose DNA? Magneto's DNA. They're probably going to use a little bit of Magneto's DNA, and then technically they'll be the kids again. Is that far fetched? Absolutely. Will that happen? It could happen. I don't know. I just have a hard time really thinking about, okay, Wanda's dead. Someone killed her. We don't know who killed her, but they're not going to keep her dead. We already know they're not going to keep her dead because of just there's a couple of things. There's going to be the Darkhold comics that are coming out earlier in the fall, right? And some of those covers, of course, include Scarlet Witch holding the Darkhold, and we also see another one with Doctor Doom holding one of the holding the Darkhold too. So it leads me to believe, of course, they're gonna bring her back, right? And also is the question like, is she really dead? I it seems hard to believe that someone killed her, but whatever. Someone killed her, and Magneto's gonna go on trial for something. Is it really Magneto that killed her? I don't think so. I don't think so. I feel like something else is going on, and the question is what is going on, and I think that's where the trial of Magneto comes in, right? There's a lot of lingering things in the background happening that could lead you to believe it might be someone else too. For example, in the Way of X, we know that Onslaught is coming back, right? And right now it's currently like Nightcrawler and basically Legion. And Legion is the main one who's going against, like, trying to go against Onslaught. And we know in the New Mutants book, there's the Shadow King, Farouk. Um, the Shadow King is just like there, right? Too. So there's so many like lingering background villains. I don't think it's like Mr. Sinister. He's doing his genetic stuff and like working with the Hellions and things like that, right? Um, we also have characters like Apocalypse who left with Genesis, right? Uh, Not too sure where that's gonna come, how that's gonna come back, right? Eventually, but I think there's gonna be a grand era when Apocalypse returns, but he's not returning alone, right? He's returning with his wife this time. But I'm not too sure if it's gonna be a bad guy thing. What I think is that he's going to come back with his wife during a warring time, right? And I think that's when all the mutants are going to have to protect their planet, right? Planet Araco, and just protect who they are as mutants. And then when all is lost, Apocalypse and Genesis returns, and it will be glorious. So yeah, you said, bet you when you're right with his DNA. Quicksilver might stay the same, only to BS at Magneto. Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, because he Quicksilver coming back. I don't know. I feel like Magneto's always been closer to her anyway, to Scarlet Witch. And I could see it that like she feels really bad, and she does feel really bad. I forgot which book. I think it was in an X Factor book or one of the side stories. She actually um was trying to resurrect all of the mutants who had died, and I think in the mutant extinction event, she tried to resurrect them, but they were most of them came back as zombies. So I think Doctor Strange helped to like just like chill, don't do that again. Um, because none of the things she did is she actually did on purpose, but it just leads. It's kind of crazy how they let her. Scarlet Witch is still part of the like teams and things like that. Like she's being watched, but she's not being held. You know what I mean? Because if this was a true and true bad guy, they would have like held that person. Like, you know what I mean? They wouldn't have let her like roam around the way she's roaming with the ability that she has. Crazy. So it's still baffling how Wanda was able to get away with everything. You know what I mean? Um, but yeah, that's see, this is why I love the X-Men books. I love the X-Men books because they're just so there's a lot going on. There's some side things that like the main thing for me that I want to uncover is the Moira thing. Moira, what is she doing? What is she planning since Powers of 10 and House of X? We know this is her 10th timeline. We also know what her powers are. Her powers are reincarnation. I actually want to label that a little bit differently. They say reincarnation, but reincarnation just means being born again, right? But when she dies, she brings everything with her to the time of her birth, with and still having memories with. That's a little bit more than reincarnation. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of wild. So, how many books would you get with the X Men trying to teach other mutants to forgive Wanda after she brought back she man, I that's a great question. I think what would happen is not that many people would forgive her anyway. Um, they called her the Great Pretender because for a long time she was a mutant, right? And now all of a sudden she's not a mutant, right? And she basically took away all these powers from like millions of mutants and things of that nature, right? Um, I'm not too sure if she's gonna be forgiven. But there's certain storylines that I wish they would change back to the status quo, right? Number one, Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch being mutants again. Also, um, the whole Franklin Richards not being a mutant again. It's like, at least his makes no, his doesn't really. They explain it in a way that makes sense, but it's like, come on, guys, did you really have to like not make him a mutant anymore? He could have stayed a mutant, but I guess they wanted to do it in a specific way that like, oh, this is the reason why Franklin Richards is not with us because he's not a mutant kind of thing, right? Um, oh man, it kind of sucks because if you grew up or you just like read the X titles, you always knew that Franklin Richards was a mutant. So within this last year is when they basically said he's not a mutant anymore, which is kind of like, oh, come on. Because what if some people just like stop reading comic books? They'll always remember Franklin Richards as a mutant. But I think they'll bring things to the status quo back, right? All things kind of revolve. You say about two issues in each X-Men series on it. Well, yeah, you know what? Alfred, I'll say freaking is whatever the dead thing and Avengers are living in right now. Oh, the Celestial. Their whole like base of operations is in a dead Celestial. I think the sleeping Celestial. Uh, yeah, it's in a Celestial. I forgot what Celestial. It's not the sleeping Celestial. It's just a Celestial, right? Um, but yeah, I don't know. There's so much going on. I feel like the whole Moira thing. I think because Hickman's X titles, right, or this whole run is gonna eventually come to an end. And when it comes to an end, I wonder how they're gonna like close it out, right? If Moira will die again. If Moira dies again, then it does fit. It does fit in a way where they could reset things for all these characters. But I don't want that to happen. I do not want Moira to just die for them to just say like, okay, we did this because now there's a new writer. Hickman is no longer doing X-Men, or he's doing this whole X-Men. I would hate for that to happen. Would it make sense? It would make sense because then they could technically say, well, they're just doing things differently, right? Um, I just want to know what Moira has been doing this whole entire time, and what is she planning? And will we see some of the mutants, the Chimera mutants from the future timelines, right? That we saw. I would love to see certain characters come back again. In particular, I forgot her name, but that's the one that's like she has the skin of Colossus, she has the sword of magic, and I think she has other abilities because she's a Chimera-based mutant. But she was really cool and stellar, right? Um, that's what I think Franklin is, or at least a Beyonder. Because isn't the Beyonder an unknowing entity? and that uh and that's Frank. Yeah, so Franklin Richards, we already know because we saw this storyline. I think it's in basically in the history of the Marvel universe, right? I have that book too. It's one of the ones that I had I think a year and a half ago. Basically, it's Galactus telling the history of the Marvel universe to Franklin Richards. And this is them at the end of time, and he basically says at the end of time we will converge meaning that they'll merge together and they'll become a brand new being that will start a brand new universe, right? So we know that that's a potential future that's going to happen. I only say potential because in the Powers of 10 storyline, we also see the Phalanx at a higher ascended, transcended level, right? Um, but who's to say that that won't happen, right? Anyway, in terms of Galactus and Franklin Richards, so I think Franklin Richards is basically on that level, but I'm not too sure if I know right now he's in kid mode, right? So he's not nowhere as powerful. I think when we saw him in his adult form, when he was going against, I think with various Celestials, I do think that he can grow even more powerful than that version because that version, the adult version, was basically um, it was that version plus the powers of the younger version as a kid. I do think what could happen is that our current Franklin Riches in our current timeline could grow to become even astronomically more powerful than that version, right? Um, Wonder if that will all blow the Hulk killed their future X-Men villain, you said. Yeah, see, and that's another thing because we also saw a version of the Hulk who's like the ultimate version of himself at the end of time, right? I think that comes up in the Immortal Hulk storyline, right? Yeah, I forgot which one. But that comes up too. So there's a lot of like end versions of things that they tried to like get to. Um, in speaking about certain things, I think what I'm looking forward to the most um is I think there's a lot of comics that people are trying to get right now, and one of the books happens to be I forgot this is a second print, but it's when Galactus is holding a dark gauntlet. He's holding a dark gauntlet that has a black gem inside, and he's also holding Mjolnir, Thor's hammer, that has all of the Infinity Stones in it, and in the background are basically Marvel zombies, right? Um, I want to know because that was a vision that Thor had. I do think that's going to happen. The question is, when will it happen, and what does that dark gauntlet do? I think I could bring up a picture if you want to see it. I think that dark gauntlet is basically gives him. I think that's like the how many Infinity Stones are there? Six Infinity Stones or five? I think that's a brand new Infinity Stone, like that was like forged, right? I think that's a like a super brand new one. And I'm super stoked for that to come up because I think we were doing theories on it. We were all doing theories on it when I did a stream, a hype reaction stream to reviewing Marvel's Zombies, which I kind of miss it now. You know what I mean? It wasn't one of the greatest stories, but it ended off really well, and I didn't do follow up videos to that. Um, because I ended it off and it was really good. We found out why Franklin Richards was not aging in that storyline, and it was pretty phenomenal. Basically, Warlock had basically Franklin Richards had died in that storyline, and basically Warlock had inhabited the body to keep him alive, but sacrificed himself in the process, and then that's why he also didn't have those powers. But he ended up having abilities of Warlock as a phalanx, right? And it was still pretty cool, but I forgot how it ended. It ended off in a really cool way. Oh man, I kind of want to go back to it now. It didn't start off really well, but basically they all lied to Franklin and he came to uncover the truth, and they ended up finding out that there was a hive mind. There's a hierarchy that they didn't find yet. So it didn't truly end, but I'm not too sure if they did the book did so well, and that's why they didn't truly end it. Oh man, I remember because they also had that nanny-based Sentinel with them. Oh man, that was a really cool storyline. It was short and sweet, um, but still enjoyable. Yeah, I have to go back and read it. The the only reason why I mentioned that storyline is because that's when we were talking about the whole zombies thing and how it popped up in Thor in one of his predictions. Not predictions, but his like you know what he was what kind of came to him, his premonition rather, right? His premonition about Thanos kind of like taking over, and we just surmised that maybe it was Thanos who is like kind of the head honcho, right? Or maybe he's just able to tap into a different reality, right? And he's probably using the reality stone, tapped into a different dimension where all of the Marvel zombies comes through. Yeah, Marvel Zombies Resurrection. That's what it was. It wasn't Marvel Zombies. Marvel Zombies is a whole thing, but Resurrection, it ended up being a really good story. It ended off really well, and it kind of bared fruit to what could possibly happen, right? Because I do want to know what kind of gem that was, right? What gem did he have? I'm trying to bring up the picture right now. Thanos with the dark gauntlet. I don't know. I don't even think there's a name for it, right? Um, I'm gonna put zombies in the title while I'm searching for it to see if it pops up. Thanos with Dark Gauntlet, zombies. Did I find it? Yep, I found it. I put in some keywords and I think that was enough to like uh, just really bring it. So yeah, let me bring it up right now so that we could kind of just like a quick. Oh, it's not. There we go. All right, so here it is. Right. Let me widen this out. I'm gonna. Oh, you want to call it the Nexus Stone? Speaking of Nexus, I definitely gotta watch Loki tonight. That's gonna be after this stream. I am watching. I wish I could do a watch party, but I'll probably end up getting a copyright strike. So let me not even attempt that. Okay, let me just bring it in the middle and then take off my camera real quick. All right, so yeah. So if we kind of go through this picture, we see a lot of zombies in the background, right? But if we're looking at Thanos, there's obviously a dark gauntlet. I feel like there's a couple of things that I'm thinking of. I'm like wondering like this, and I think we talked about this during that stream, and we were saying, well, maybe this is like a null. I think I was saying like this is a null type of gauntlet, right? Because what if this gauntlet enables him to control all the symbiotes, right? That it's not even that he's controlling the dead. Maybe he has that ability, but it's just like I don't know. Maybe he has the ability to control all of the dead, and I think that's what the gauntlet is. This dark new stone, right? That's right here in the center. And then we have and it's kind of cool that Mjolnir has all of the Infinity Stones embedded in it, the Infinity Gems or stones embedded in it, right? Um, you know what I would love to? I would love for the hammer to have some kind of like sentience beyond what it. We know it has some kind of feeling or something of the nature, but that's about it, right? Um, you said call it the Nexus Stone, and he got it in that God Ocean thing that got canceled all the stores. Create the stones. Oh, what is that? I'm not too sure what that is. Um, yeah, but it's pretty stellar. It's pretty stellar. It's like amazing. You know what I mean? It's pretty amazing. But yeah, I'm gonna. This is I don't know. I'm getting hype like while talking about this. I've been streaming for about 48 minutes, right? Guy with the camera, I appreciate you, right? Just chillaxing with me. Just getting hype with me basically for the X titles and all the other stuff. Steven, thanks for hanging out too. Uzi too, thanks for hanging out. YouTube hasn't been sending notifications to a lot of people, so I'm not too sure if you guys got notifications or you just scrolled and just saw me on the screen. If that's the case, then yeah, that's the case. Whatever the place that Loki went during the Infinity event. Oh, okay, I see, I see. I got it. Okay, got it. Um, yeah, so I'm gonna see. Um, before the night is up, I'm definitely gonna read X-Men. The artwork looks amazing, so depending on my hype for X-Men number one, this rebooted version, I am going to do a review on it. It's by Dugan, Larraz, um, and Garcia, and the artwork looks phenomenal. Thor didn't get canceled. The Thor run? No, no, no. No, it didn't get canceled. I believe they're switching up. Wait, are they switching up on writers? I'm not too sure. Now I'm not too sure. I know it's not canceled though. I think they finished up with um man, I'm trying to remember. I know they finished that whole run. I think what happened was the King and Black run kind of like interfered with some of the storylines because it was supposed to end at a certain time, but things got pushed forward or pushed back depending on what it was. Venom was phenomenal. Venom ended off really well. The King in Black, that whole storyline ended off really well. It was the first time I was truly invested in Venom, but I don't think that Thor is finished. Um, I think they're just trying to. I'm not too sure if it's going to be the same writer. That's the thing. Donny Cates, I think Donny Cates was the one who's writing Venom. He just finished his run. And I think he's moving on to something else. I'm not too sure. There's a couple of writers who are switching. They're like doing each other's um, books or something of the nature, right? So I think Venom is Venom getting Donny Cates? I think Venom is actually going to get Donny Cates because Venom is coming back. Um, and also a new Carnage run is coming out. So pretty soon if it didn't already come out. So I'm pretty stoked because I know I ordered some books and I think a new book is coming in, and I'm eager to read that because Flash Thompson is coming back and he's back as is he Agent Venom? He's not Agent Venom because he has the anti Venom suit. I don't know what they would call him, Agent Anti Venom. But yeah. Oh, the Carnage did start. Yeah, so these books I did order like my new comic book day pickups, but I didn't get all these X titles. So like today, I'm gonna have doubles of the X-Men books. So I went out today to just get them, but I know like by Saturday, I should be getting in some books that I ordered, right? So and I think the Carnage happens to be one of them. X-Men was definitely one of them, and I think I only got three books that I forgot the other one now. But yeah, with that being said, everyone had a great time just chillaxing. I might do another stream probably tomorrow, right? If it, I might just do a live. I'm gonna go back to my reaction review videos, right? But instead of 10 minutes before the stream, I'll probably have already read it, but they're gonna be reaction hype reviews are gonna come back. They're gonna be streaming, so that way we could theorize and just like jam out and talk, right? Um, but yeah, all right, everyone. This is Zen from Zen Multiverse saying peace, love, and prosperity. If you're enjoying my content, drop me a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Definitely share the video and invite people, right? So that we could jam out and talk about this more. And if folks are over the age of 18, if you prefer for me to do a live StreamYard, then I could do a StreamYard. And then some of us could just jump in and just talk about these items, these particular books. If you want that to happen, just let me know. After this video, you can just drop it in the comment section. I want to debate with you. I want to theorize with you, Zen, and then we'll do it, right? All right, everyone. Take care. Peace.